as in, look, we're not playing at our best, as in the team's not fully gelled yet, but we're still winning games. And you're not lucky to score five late goals in a row. That's not luck. That's a team very persistent, very on the go, and no matter what time of the minute of the game is, they still believing that they can go and score.
Hello, I'm Anna Smith, and you're watching Inside Liverpool on talkSPORT, brought to you by talkSPORT Bet. Joining me today, I'm delighted to say, is Jermaine Pennant.
Jermaine, Champions League's back. Here we go
Yes.
again. What did you make of last night?
I liked. I thought that was probably one of the better games from Liverpool. Albeit we conceded two goals to bring it back, but if you dive a little bit deeper, some of the players, I thought Florian Wirtz, that was his best game. You can see why we paid the money for. You can see the absolute quality he possesses, on the ball, his little touches, the pockets that he finds. And I'm telling you, as soon as he gets that goal or a nice little assist, the weight off his shoulders is going to be lifted. And you can see him coming into the game more and more, understanding the league, the intensity, his teammates. He's going to be a great player, and especially with his link up with Isak, which we saw a little glimpse of it in the first half.
It looked tasty, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I can't wait. Again, each time a game goes by, I'm just waiting for the next one to come along.
Well, you don't have long to wait. We've only got a
Yes.
couple of days.
Yeah.
In terms of that, though, like all jokes aside, like I genuinely thought it was one of, it was Liverpool's best performance of the season so far. Should have been long out of sight if a couple of those chances had gone in. It could have been 3-4. In terms of the goals that were conceded, obviously one of them was quite an unlucky deflection as well. How worried should we be?
Look, I won't be worried. I'd be more as in, look, we're not playing at our best, as in the team's not fully gelled yet, but we're still winning games. And you're not lucky to score five late goals in a row. That's not luck. That's a team very persistent, very on the go, and no matter what time of the minute of the game is, they still believing that they can go and score. It's not ideal. You'd like to, like I said, finish games off 2-0, 3-0, and we did have the opportunity to put the game to bed. But once we start finding that gear and clicking into place, these little, goals that we're conceding will be addressed. We've got 6 or 7 new players in the first team. So they've still, got to understand how we play at times. And yeah, one of the goals was a freak deflection, nothing that Alisson can do about. And the one was a lucky toe poke for a few players. But in whole, overall, we've kept a clean sheet against one of the best teams in the country, Arsenal. So we can do it. We can do it against the best. And I think once we went 2-0 up against Madrid, I think everyone was thinking, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. Maybe that little lapse of concentration and take the foot off the pedal sometimes can cost us, and then, oh, we've got to step up a gear again, and then we end up scoring another goal. But again, more work on the training pitch, more games together. I think we'll start seeing a more solid Liverpool.
That is exactly one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Obviously, there are lots of people saying, "Oh, lucky Liverpool, here we go again," that kind of thing. And then, obviously, in response, people saying it's not. It's the mentality, it's the belief, knowing that it doesn't matter what minute of the game it is. Liverpool still believe that they can go out and get that winning goal. I saw you on Sports Bar last night making another really interesting point about if you're going to put 11 people behind the ball, sitting low in your box, basically asking Liverpool to come for it. Like you're asking for it, right?
Absolutely. It's not like you're playing against a mediocre team. We've got no firepower going forward. Probably one of the best strike forces or the front six, in the league and in Europe. So you're asking players with absolutely phenomenal ability who can put a ball on a dime, players who can finish left, right, and centre. You've got probably one of the biggest centre back pairings, Van Dijk, Kanate, and you throw in the mix with you've got now Isak, 6'5", Ekitike 6'6". You've got absolutely units as well. So if you're doing that low block and just playing for corners, you put 10 balls in the box, one of them's going to come fortunate. One of them are going to go in the back of the net. And you saw Madrid, once they actually went 3-2 down, they kind of went for an more attacking prowess, and they almost scored themselves with a free header. So teams may think it's a good idea playing a low block. Sometimes, yeah, it can work out, but you're also running a risk. You're playing against absolutely fantastic players.
One of those, obviously, there's been a lot of chat about Mo Salah this start of the season, bit of a slower start. People are saying, I mean, look, he's still getting plenty of goals, he's still assisting. And I thought last night he
Look
answered
sharp.
some of those questions. He was great, right?
Yeah, he looked sharp. He could have got two goals. Unfortunately, the second one hit the post. But usually you see those hit the back of the net. And again, people need to understand that the first 3 or 4 games, you're still trying to get up to speed. Everything's still in motion. Everything's not the gelled and the finished article. So you bear fruit with him. You give him his game time, and Mo will be Mo. We've seen it over the years. Sometimes, yeah, we might not have the greatest 85 minutes, but you come 86, 87, he'll chip in with a goal or get an assist, and that's what Mo does. And yeah, sometimes he can have a blinder the whole game. But his numbers don't lie. And when those big matters, those big moments matters, like the penalty against Burnley, that's a massive moment. That takes the nerves of steel, and you rely on people like Mo to put that in the back of the net.
Can I ask you, obviously, as a player yourself, like when people were talking about you online or, on talkSPORT, all this chat, how much do you listen to it and how much does it spur you on? Does it put you off? Like that kind of thing?
Listen, you try and ignore as much as possible. In my time, it was a little bit easier because social media wasn't as ripe. But right now, there was no way of getting away from any criticism, any conversations, any talk of an individual. So these players will be seeing a lot more of it. And of course, they will put some to the back of their mind and ignore it. But we're all human, and there's some that you can't ignore at all times. And little times you will think, do you know what? All right, this is what you think. I will prove that wrong. I know my ability. I know how hard I'm working. I know what the team or what I'm going through at the moment. But that moment will come where all the doubters, all the critics will get put wrong. And for like Mo, I think he's done that all his time at Liverpool.
Yeah, completely. Another person that's kind of seems to have a lot of eyes on him, obviously, Florian Wirtz. He does come with a hefty price tag, but again, I thought we saw the best of him last night. He's 22. Arne Slot made this point in his press conference after the game. Like, he's 22. He's adjusting to a completely new league. Like, we're just seeing the start of him. Do you agree?
I totally agree. It's not an easy league to come to. Never mind as a 22-year-old, you come in your prime and you still find a little time to get used to it. But like I said, we've seen glimpses, and the more he understands the intensity, the pace of Liverpool, the pace of the Premier League, he'll get used to it. It's new environment, new teammates, new style of play. It's a working process. And I think, like I said last night, I saw amazing glimpses of how he can just glide past players, his IQ, his touches around the box. There was a moment where he could have, well, he not could have scored, but he had a chance, but he got crowded out. And I was just praying for that to go back of the net because that will do so much for one's confidence and the belief to go on and that I can now do, what I did at Leverkusen. So I'm happy. I'm happy with his performances and what he can give and for the future of it.
Across the pitch as well, I feel like if you're looking at it, that midfield, Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai are just on fire at the moment. Like, and then obviously the whole new attack, very, very exciting. And then Verge at the back is just holding things down. When you look at it like that, you're like, we're only going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely correct. Kirkez, you got Frimpong as well. They're only gonna get better with knowing their teammates, and that just comes with doesn't matter who you are. If you go to a new team, you have to learn the style and the philosophy and how they play. But touching on what you mentioned, like the players, like Gravenberch he started off amazing. He's been a revolution for our team, and obviously McAllister still saying he's still got to get up to speed. But again, great plan. But Szoboszlai, he's came out of the blocks. He wants to fight for that position, as you can see. Yeah, and it's just great for Liverpool. But I just want to touch on Isak as well. He has no right to be that sharp last night. I know he played, 55 minutes, but he looked very sharp. For someone who's had no preseason, no game time, a brand new team, we can see why we paid the fee for him.
It's actually quite scary, isn't it, when you think if all of this does click into place, Liverpool could be laughing.
Absolutely, and I think you understand why the rivals were worried about the purchase of Isak and the players that we've got on the verts and the money we've spent, because once that does get going, start clicking into gear, they get defensively better, which comes in game time. Then it's going to be hard to see anything else but Liverpool victories on the horizon and maybe retain the title. And it's exciting times.
It would be nice to get a couple of wins, maybe that aren't as on the edge right up to the end of the game. But when you're playing, how exciting is it when you absolutely you do steal it in the 90th minute or whatever?
I'll be honest. I think scoring a 90th minute, 85-minute, last minute goal to win a game, it's better than winning 3-0. That joy, that adrenaline that runs through your body when you share that moment with the fans. That's what I think that's what professional footballers in the big games live for. There's nothing better coming off the game, winning the game in the last minute. Obviously, look, we like to for anxiety levels win it after 90 before 90 minutes, 3-0 easy. But sometimes those results just, hit differently.
Looking forward to the weekend. It isn't, like I said, it's not long until the next Liverpool game, obviously Merseyside Derby. What do you want to see in terms of lineup? What do you expect to happen? Any predictions?
Um, the lineup, well, I think any lineup would be very good, but I think I would like to see maybe Isak start. I think, he's had this game last night, and I think if you can start him again, would be great because he knows Premier League opposition. I'm usually I'm expecting an awkward Everton. It's always the games have always been the goals have been very few, 1-0s here and there. But I'm hoping that this Everton team's got more attacking flair, with Grealish and Dye. So are they going to be more attacking basis? You're going to be taking the strengths off from what they've got, their team is. So I'm expecting not such as a difficult game as we used to. Hopefully they will go for it. But it's a derby. Anything can happen. They're always hard and hostile and ugly. But with the players that we've got at Anfield, I'm expecting, 2-0 Liverpool.
2-0. Okay, good prediction. I'll hold you to that. We'll check in on that next week. The other thing I just wanted to ask you before I let you go is I saw someone online saying something about, Liverpool will get found out soon. And then someone in retaliation basically saying it's not about getting found out. Like it isn't luck playing like this. There is just going to get to a point where actually we lock down the defense and the attack keep on flying. Would you agree?
Totally. Like I said, if we can keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, we're probably the top goal scorers in the league at the minute, who have been flying. We can do it when it really matters. And we're not going to get found out because we're only going to get better. It's still early days. So there's still better to come. There's still better defensively, midfield, cohesion altogether. We're only going to get better. And like I said, if we do get found out, if you score one or two, we've got enough to go score three or four. We don't have to win a game 3-0 or 1-0. As long as we outscore our opponents, who cares? We come away with 3 points. So if it's going to be like this until things get perfect and better, then so be it. We've got enough to beat anyone, regardless of if we keep a clean sheet or not.
Also, you've got to admit that some of these games have been like the best of the round, the best of, we're entertaining, right?
Absolutely. I think if you're a Liverpool fan, if you've left 5 minutes to 10 minutes earlier to beat the traffic, you would think that we've never won a game. Uh, so you can't believe it now. Hence why our stadiums are full after 97 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jermaine, amazing to speak to you as always. Fingers crossed for the Merseyside Derby, and we'll catch up again with you soon.
Cheers, Anna. Take care.
Thank you.